In the year 907 CE, the Great Tang Dynasty, which had ruled China for nearly 3 centuries, finally collapsed. What followed was not unity but chaos. For the next 70 years, China would be torn apart by warlords, rebels, and ambitious generals. This was the age of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms, a time when the Middle Kingdom was anything but unified. This is the story of how China broke apart, and how it came back together. It's a tale of ambition and betrayal, of cultural flowering amid political turmoil, and of the slow, painful birth of a new era. To understand the 5 dynasties, we must first understand how the mighty Tang fell. By the 9th century, the Tang dynasty was crumbling from within. The An Lushan rebellion of 755 had already weakened imperial authority. Now, new threats emerged. In 874, a failed salt merchant named Huang Chao led a massive peasant rebellion. His forces swept across China like a wildfire, capturing the capital Chang'an in 880. Though the rebellion was eventually crushed, it left the Tang dynasty fatally weakened. From the ashes of this chaos rose a man named Zhu Wen. Once a follower of Huang Chao, Zhu had switched sides and helped suppress the rebellion. His reward was military command, but his ambition was far greater. In 907, he forced the last Tang emperor to abdicate, and declared himself emperor of a new dynasty, the later Liang. Zhu Wen's rise to power epitomizes the period. He was neither noble nor scholarly, but a military strongman who seized power through force and cunning. His establishment of the later Liang didn't create unity, it simply made the fragmentation official. The 5 dynasties ruled in rapid succession from the northern capitals of Kaifeng and Luoyang. Each claimed to be the legitimate successor to the Tang, but none could maintain power for long. After Zhu Wen's later Liang came the later Tang, founded by Li Congxu in 923. Li claimed descent from the Tang imperial family, but his dynasty lasted only 13 years. The later Jin followed in 936, then the later Han in 947, and finally the later Zhou in 951. These dynasties rose and fell with stunning regularity. Emperors were assassinated, generals rebelled, and whole armies switched sides. The average dynasty lasted barely 15 years. Power belonged to whoever could command the most soldiers and inspire the most fear. The most capable ruler of this chaotic period was Chai Rong, known as Emperor Shizong of later Zhou. In his brief 6-year reign from 954 to 959, he began to reunify China through military conquest and administrative reform. His death at age 39 cut short what might have been a remarkable reign. The 5 dynasties period was characterized by what we call military emperors, men who rose to power through warfare rather than inheritance or scholarly achievement. This represented a fundamental shift in Chinese political culture. While the north churned through 5 dynasties, the south was divided among 10 kingdoms. These southern states, though smaller, often proved more stable and prosperous than their northern counterparts. The Wu Kingdom controlled the Yangtze River Valley. The southern Tang ruled from Nanjing. Wuye dominated the wealthy coastal regions. In the far south, the southern Han controlled Guangdong, while Shu held the fertile Sichuan Basin. These kingdoms developed distinct cultures and identities. The Wuye Kingdom, for instance, became famous for its patronage of Buddhism and its skilled craftsmen. The southern Tang produced some of China's greatest poets and painters, including the tragic poet Emperor Li Yu. Li Yu, the last ruler of southern Tang, was a brilliant poet but a poor king. His poems of loss and longing, written after his kingdom's fall, remain among the masterpieces of Chinese literature. As he wrote, "How much sorrow can there be? Just like a river of spring water flowing east." The 10 Kingdoms period saw remarkable cultural creativity. Without the pressure of governing a vast empire, these smaller states could focus on art, literature, and local development. In many ways, they preserved and developed Tang culture better than the chaotic north. Despite political fragmentation, this period saw remarkable economic and technological development. The chaos of war drove innovation, while regional competition spurred growth. The south, blessed with rivers and fertile land, became China's economic heartland. Rice cultivation expanded dramatically. New crops like tea became major commercial products. The Grand Canal, though damaged by warfare, continued to carry goods between north and south. This period saw the spread of woodblock printing, revolutionizing the dissemination of knowledge. Buddhist texts, Confucian classics, and even novels circulated more widely than ever before. The world's first government-issued paper money appeared in Sichuan during this era. Buddhism flourished as never before. Rulers competed to build magnificent temples and sponsor grand ceremonies. The famous Longmen grottos near Luoyang were expanded during this period. Yet this Buddhist renaissance also sparked a Confucian revival, as scholars sought to reclaim Chinese intellectual traditions. The fragmentation actually stimulated economic development. Regional rulers had to compete for resources and loyalty, leading to lower taxes, better treatment of merchants, and more innovation. The Song dynasty's later prosperity was built on foundations laid during this chaotic period. The end of division came not from the established powers, but from an unexpected source. In 960, a young general named Zhao Kuangyin seized power in the later Zhou dynasty through a bloodless coup known as the Qinqiao incident. Zhao, who became Emperor Taizu of Song, was different from his predecessors. Rather than ruling through fear, he sought to create lasting institutions. His strategy was patient conquest combined with administrative reform. One by one, the southern kingdoms fell to Song armies. The northern Han, protected by the Khitan Liao dynasty, held out until 979. By then, China was unified under Song rule, ending nearly 3/4 of a century of division. The Song dynasty's approach to governance was revolutionary. Instead of rewarding military commanders with autonomous power, they centralized authority and promoted civil officials. They created a professional bureaucracy selected through examinations rather than birth or military prowess. The Song learned from the Five Dynasties period that military strongmen were inherently unstable. They deliberately weakened military authority and strengthened civilian government. This created a more stable but militarily weaker state. The Five Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period left profound marks on Chinese civilization. It demonstrated both the fragility of centralized power and the resilience of Chinese culture. The cultural achievements of this era were remarkable. Poetry, painting, and scholarship flourished in the smaller courts. Regional identities strengthened, creating a richer, more diverse Chinese culture. The period's competitive environment drove innovation in technology, governance, and economics. The Song dynasty's remarkable achievements in science, technology, and commerce were built on foundations laid during the preceding chaos. The fragmentation had forced experimentation and innovation that centralized dynasties might have suppressed. The period also revealed the enduring power of Chinese cultural unity. Despite political fragmentation, the idea of a unified China never disappeared. All the dynasties and kingdoms claimed legitimacy through connection to earlier unified dynasties, particularly the Tang. The Five Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period shows us that Chinese civilization was remarkably resilient. Even when the political structure collapsed, the cultural foundations remained strong. This period wasn't just about division, it was about the evolution of Chinese identity. Yet we must not romanticize this period. The constant warfare took a tremendous toll on ordinary people. Armies lived off the land, taxes were crushing, and entire regions were depopulated by conflict. Contemporary records speak of cities changing hands multiple times in a single year, of families torn apart by shifting loyalties, of scholars fleeing burning libraries. The period produced great art, but also great suffering. The tomb inscriptions of the period tell stories of loss and displacement. Officials who served multiple dynasties, merchants who lost everything in sudden wars, farmers who abandoned their ancestral lands. These were the human costs of political ambition. We tend to focus on the kings and generals, but millions of ordinary people paid the price for this political chaos. Their resilience and adaptability were perhaps the period's greatest achievements. The 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period lasted from 907 to 960 CE, just 53 years. Yet it was one of the most transformative periods in Chinese history. It marked the end of the medieval Chinese world and the beginning of the early modern era. From the ashes of the Tang dynasty rose not just the song, but a new form of Chinese civilization. More commercial, more diverse, more innovative, and ultimately more resilient. The period's legacy wasn't just reunification but reinvention. The poets and painters of the 10 Kingdoms, the innovations of desperate rulers, the administrative reforms of the song, all emerged from this crucible of competition and conflict. Sometimes, it seems, civilizations must break apart to discover how to put themselves back together. In Chinese historical memory, the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period serves as both warning and inspiration. A warning about the costs of division, but also an inspiration about the power of renewal. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, human creativity and resilience can light the way forward. The Middle Kingdom would never again fragment as completely as it did during these 53 years. The lessons learned in this age of division would shape Chinese political thought for centuries to come. Unity was precious, but it was the diversity born of division that made that unity worth preserving.
Thanks for watching.